We see REMI production probably a bit differently to the conventional broadcast understanding of it. For me, it's a way of being able to bring in remote feeds to a central location and distribute, but it's a way of engaging with the fans and bringing fans into the content and fans into the in-stadium experiences as well.
Like most people in this business, we started off with kind of the traditional mobile unit model, meaning that we would need a truck or a trailer or a flight pack system out in the venue with a full crew in the venue. Really, when everything changed for us is when LiveU came out with the REMI production solution. It basically allowed us to grow a lot faster because we're able to take on significantly more work than we would have been able to take on before with the truck and trailer model.
We're able to produce and distribute a lot of NASCAR content, a lot of content that the average viewer is not normally going to see. We've seen a lot of positive results and a lot more viewership.
As I mentioned, there's the traditional way and then there's the way that we wanted to do it, and I think how most people need to do it, and that was through the REMI model rather. For us, the production brief was around being able to produce 4 rugby games across 4 different countries. We had 2 key crew members fly to 2 of the games. The other countries, we hired local cameramen with local LiveU support. So logistically, it was incredibly light from a footprint perspective that was on site.
LiveU is a big component, is the main component to our live programming. You know, we have 3 feeds that are constantly coming in, trying to get the post-game presser in the locker room, waiting for the players to talk, having our reporters recap the action. These can all happen at the same time.
And looking at the ROI side of things, I don't expect you to get into specific numbers, but how much are you able to sort of save with a more streamlined approach?
Huge. Not only are you not going to be able to have the same amount of manpower, and with manpower comes cost. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. We're going to be able to do these productions that we have coming up in the future in a much more efficient way.
Rather than run cable like golf does to an extremely wide course, a lot of our courses are more heavily wooded. So we needed a really good solution to be able to get a signal back to either a production truck or a studio, which is what we ended up doing here. I swear, and no one paid me to say this, but we couldn't do this without the LiveUs. I can't imagine the cost that it would take us to have to, like I said, run cable through some of our courses.
Golf is one of our big challenges that we kind of hang our hat on, that we're able to actually execute it. Our challenge is to get those camera signals to our control room, because it's not feasible for us to disassemble all of our, unrack all of our equipment and take it to the golf course. What we actually ended up doing is doing line cuts from each hole, and we're switching the camera feeds on site and then taking that SDI out into our LiveU pack and sending that back to our centralized control room. So that actually allowed us to do a 11 camera broadcast with just 4 LiveU backpacks. So in the end, we were able to execute this, and I was able to look at our administration and say, hey, we didn't even have to spend any extra money to do this because we already used what we had.
Well, basically nowadays you need to be competitive with pricing, cost effective, and obviously you need to be scalable. So I think that, to be honest, why not looking at remote solutions, and you can be cost effective, and if you can keep the same standard, if not better, why not? It opens a lot of new horizons for you, for your company, for your business, because it seems like you're going to the office in the morning, do your daily job at the desk, but actually you're producing live sports. And to be honest, I think it's amazing, and this is the way how we should handle business from now on. Whatever we did until now, it's the past, and we need to look at the future in this way.
Before, you roll your satellite truck up and $2,000, $2,500.
Before you even turn it on?
Before anything's ever happened to that. You start multiplying that by the days, and we haven't even fired it up. We haven't even booked space. Those numbers start adding up very quickly.
I'd say over 50% of the events that we do, we send one person from our headquarters here in Austin out to the field. And then we hire the rest of the crew that we need in market locally. And actually, one of the things that's amazed me about this solution is that it just works. We really don't run into a tremendous amount of problems or troubleshooting that's required out in the field. It's one of the kind of inherent beautiful things about the LiveU technology is that it just works, and we don't have to rely on the venue for connectivity, for example.
So that the LiveU and the ability to move around, the flexibility, the portability side of it, I think is going to be a huge factor, because so many of these events are no longer in a building that has, great wired connections. They're going to be outdoors. They're going to be outside. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, how do we get connection out there? How do we get and the LiveU really answers a lot of that.
Coming across the LiveU technology there about a year and a bit ago, I mean, it saved our sport. The sport of motocross is what we mainly focus on. And with us going coast to coast in some very remote areas, we've traditionally done satellite trucks. And I mean, you start putting, satellite truck with multiple semis that have to, work around it. It gets, for one, it gets costly. For two, your satellite window is very marginal. Man, oh man, the technology is bar none.
It really is for us a tool with multiple approaches to it, rather than being able to replace the traditional methods of broadcast.